to not overspend his money, honey, as he's definitely not into gold diggers, and if you're a gold digger, you better run away from this as long as they do not deplete his bank account. Never deny, reject, or say no to his initiation. He might be more into the quickies. He has a hot, fiery, and passionate energy, as the fire ignites quickly. But fire can just burn out as quickly as it started. Catch me if you can. Just let him deliver. This guy's a go-getter. You can put a finger on your lips or lick your lips or do something with your mouth. He may not be the fastest, but he definitely has a very strong stamina. Eating food from your body, like sushi or even some desserts. This guy is very cerebral. He is not the one that would shut up either. He could be very skilled with his words. Ropes and ties can also be wonderful toys to implement, as they require skillful use of the hands, as he can even cry in her bosom. The phrase where it says, "A man's love starts in his stomach," or something along those lines, because he really needs that mommy-like stimulation. Honey, that is the best house burned down in fire I have ever seen. The way you destroyed it, it's so hot. Sex on ashes? No worries. He's so passionate that he can keep on that fire burning. You can really use the cute little name calling like honey bunny, my sweet munches, mousy something. Figure it out by sending him multiple emojis and messages with hearts and cute little things. Smell fresh and clean, like a detergent. Even bleach, where you don't have a trace of germ left on you. Any type of play or game where it's nurse and patient, where there is this aspect of healing or cleaning into it. For example, the maid and the boss. He is a visual type of person. Also, he likes a soft-spoken, very gentle voice. Think of him as Ken, and what would Ken really like? I mean, the whole commercialized Valentine's Day image perfectly fits this guy. An appetite that runs through every cell of his existence. Bondage and choking, that he can dig deeper and deeper and deeper until he consumes everything of you. Really fuel his Indiana Jones instinct in him, looking miserable and deflated. What's the use of you? So the more serious and business-like approach you have to this guy, the more the devil is going to keep coming back and knocking on your door, and have his desire running like a computer hard drive. Even when you're causing pain, be gentle. Hi loves, and welcome to Pearl of the Stars Applied Astrology Series, where we're going to uncover, through the language of astrology, the hidden information in a birth chart or in your natal chart, and how you can use that information and put it into practical use in your daily lives. So today we're going to start with uncovering his turn on drive and how to keep it or keep him engaged. For that, we're going to take a look at the placement of Mars in his natal birth chart. So in order to get to the bottom of the truth of what your guy needs to be turned on and keep the fire of desire burning in his body, we are going to take a look at 3 things in his natal chart. We're going to take a look at his Mars placement by sign, where and what house his Mars is placed in, and the ruler of the 8th house. So in terms of order of importance, the most important thing is first to look at his Mars sign. Then you can add attributes from the house his Mars is placed in, and to that you can add more attributes from the 8th house ruler in his birth chart. This will give you a full picture of what he needs to feel turned on and give you some room to play with. But first, why do we look at the Mars placement? Because Mars in a birth chart, especially in a male's birth chart, represents his drive, the energy, the external energy, the exertion energy he carries. It's his masculine energy, or if you would like to refer to it, his fighting or spirit warrior type of energy, which speaks to what drives a man to act the way he does. But also in a female's chart, it represents what kind of man or masculine energy she finds as attractive. But that's only if she's heterosexual or bisexual. If you're a gay woman, then we're going to need to take a look at your Venus placement, which is going to be discussed in another video of how to pleasure her. The Mars placement in a female's chart, it also does speak to what drives her to act or behave in a certain way, but it does not determine to such a high degree her sexual drive. Whereas in a man's chart, the sexual drive really needs to be ignited. Why is it so important to keep the sexual drive ignited? Because it is what regulates our immune system. Because in the cases of lack of sexual drive, or some would like to refer to it as low libido, it translates into low will to live. And you know, when we don't have a will to live, we die. As the will is fueled, one can stay as an active participant in life. One is able to transform, overcome obstacles and challenges, and also fight with sicknesses and diseases. It is what helps go through the changes and flows of life. So think of it this way: the more you turn him on or attend to his drive needs, the more you can also keep your man healthy and living longer to keep you satisfied. So in simple terms, the way some would like to refer to it, the more you fuel his Mars, the more you ignite the hero instinct inside of him. And this applies to both straight and gay men. So if you're a gay man, then you need to look at your partner's Mars sign in his natal chart. Because when it's suppressed, neglected, and not fueled correctly, this can lead to impotency, sexual problems, and intimacy difficulties. So in order to keep a man turned on and continue fueling his desire or drive for you, you need to learn and attend to his Mars needs. It increases the intimacy you can build with him and have deeper, more pleasurable and satisfying sexual experiences together. Now, who wouldn't want that? think of it this way. His Mars is the key to the light switch you can keep on turning on if you want to get the best out of your man. And not just in bed, but to bring the best out of him in life. And if you're a guy watching this video to learn more about yourself, your Mars placement in your birth chart speaks to your instinctual, raw needs. It can be looked at as your kinks, but the kinks that are like a kick for action. So let's buckle up and get turned on by exploring each Mars placement by sign, house, and ruler of the 8th house. And just to add in, for those of you who are not familiar with what's 8th house ruler or cusp or what it means, I'm just going to give you a quick little briefing of how to take a look at the placement. So once you have the natal birth chart, you'll take a look at where the number 8 is. That's the 8th house. I think on the screen it's going to be shown differently. So look at the sign standing where the line starts of the 8th house. That's also called the cusp of the 8th house. So for example, if you have Aries on the 8th house, then the ruler is Mars. So then you're going to need to take a look at where again is the Mars placement in the birth chart, or add in Mars and Aries attributes. If you have Taurus on the 8th house cusp, then you can take a look at the Venus placement also in the birth chart and the attributes of Mars and Taurus. If you have Gemini on the 8th house cusp, you can look at the Mercury placement in the birth chart and also add in the attributes of Mars and Gemini. If you have Cancer on the 8th house cusp, you can take a look at the moon placement in the birth chart and also take a look at the attributes of Mars in Cancer. If you have Leo on the 8th house cusp, you can take a look at the sun placement in the birth chart and also add in the attributes of Mars in Leo. If you have Virgo on the 8th house cusp, you can take a look at the Mercury placement in the birth chart and also add in the attributes of Mars in Virgo. If you have Libra on the 8th house cusp, you can take a look at the placement of Venus in the birth chart and also add in the attributes of Mars in Libra. If you have Scorpio on the 8th house cusp, you can look at the Mars placement in the birth chart and also the attributes of Mars in Scorpio. If you have Sagittarius on the 8th house cusp, you can take a look at the placement of Jupiter in the natal chart and also add in the attributes of Mars in Sagittarius. If you have Capricorn on the 8th house cusp, you can take a look at the placement of Saturn in the birth chart and also add in the attributes of Mars in Capricorn. If you have Aquarius on the 8th house cusp, you can take a look at the Saturn placement again in the birth chart and also add in the attributes of Mars and Aquarius. If you have Pisces on the 8th house cusp, you can take a look at the Jupiter placement in the birth chart and also add in the information of Mars and Pisces. And this is how you add on more layers of how to turn him on. But if this is too confusing for you, you can simply start by just looking at his Mars sign, then later on add a layer of looking at the house placement and then all of that information that I spoke about, the ruler of the 8th house. So now let's get turned on and look at each and every individual sign placement. So thank you loves for watching. The sun is already starting to come out and I believe it's time for me to get myself turned off from this camera and turned on in some other ways. I'm going to see you in the next video where we're probably going to speak about how to pleasure her. This way, all of the information we have available through astrology, we don't need to just learn it, but we can actually use it and apply it. So it serves a purpose in our lives. If you like this video, click the little thumbs up or turn on button, and I will see you next time. Bye. I'm really terrible with these outros, but I'm also not the best with following scripts. So I need to figure something out. I'm sure you know where to press like and on and off. So just follow me and just always keep staying turned on. Until next time. Bye.